Welcome back. Well, round 16 has delivered plenty of thrills and spills over the years. Amazing comebacks, amazing finishes, and in the case of one mark, yes, amazing grace. Let's take a look once more at some of the game's truly magic moments, because like the 2 hours it took you to find your vehicle in a muddy Waverley car park, so are the rounds of our lives. Oh, do we have some nostalgia gold today finding this segment. I've been looking forward to this all week. Some great moments from rounds gone past. Let's start number 5. Not going back too far, just 4 years. The venue is Kazali Stadium in Cairns, oddly enough. The teams are Gold Coast and Richmond. A rugby league import, Carmichael Hunt, has come across to the code. People are sceptical about whether he can fit in. They're sceptical about the Gold Coast too. Richmond are struggling to stay in the finals race. They are 10 points up with under a minute left on the clock. Surely the Tigers are going to win this game. Let's have a look what happens.
Hoof it forward, still trying to make something from nothing. Patrick Harbrow on the burst, bounces, doesn't come back to him, but he gets clear, 30 metres out, kicks the goal, they're still in it. Kick.
Oh, it's coming.
Swallow, McKenzie can kick it a long way, throws it on the boot, a hero needed. Almost Brennan, 10 seconds to go. Matera hooks it back.
Carmichael.
It comes to Carmichael Hunt. Oh, no! 12 seconds to go in the game. The man everybody talked about when he came across from the NRL has kicked 3 goals in his career. Siren gone to win the game.
Advice from Ablett.
Richmond's season on the line, as David King said. Carmichael Hunt. Is he the hero that the Suns believe he is? He definitely is!
What a story.
Now, I think Paul Roos famously referred to that as the worst minute of football ever played by Richmond, but great effort by the Suns. And Carmichael Hunt, I mean, welcome to the big time. Fair bit of pressure on, and he handled it like a pro.
That will always, Carmichael Hunt and Israel Folau, those moves by the AFL to bite into the NRL, get some column inches, that can be debated. I don't know whether it was a great move, a great investment, but that will remain one of the most amazing finishes in a game of footy. And like the song says, you can't take that away from me. Carmichael Hunt, you've got that forever, son.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move on to number 4 on the list. The year is 1995. The venue is the Gabba. Brisbane Bears, they're a hapless bunch. They're third last on the ladder. I think they're about 4 games adrift of the top 8. They're playing Hawthorn, who are fighting for a spot in the 8. Hawthorn, just business as usual this day. They're 45 points up at three-quarter time. It's a hot day, though. And Peter Knights, the Hawthorn coach, takes his players under the shade of one of the light towers. Robert Walls, the Brisbane coach, always looking for an angle, smells a side weakening. He gives an inspiring talk to his Brisbane Bears players. Let's have a look what unfolded.
One hand, unable to complete it. White, magically, chips in towards goal and pops through another one. Short, Voss is waiting down in front. He doesn't try to go. He short passes to Hart and he'll go.
It spills out to Fletcher. Inside the 50, Merritt. He's marked 35 metres out. Now, let's put this in context. They were down by 45 points at three-quarter time. And Merritt could make a kick the difference. He's got the goal. How about this? He'll kick from about 75 out. Hawthorn have to be very careful here. Work done to the ball was Graham. It bounces through for a goal. That should do it. Now, there's the siren.
Incredible.
Well, remarkable stuff by the Bears there, and that launched them on an amazing run, Finey. I think they won 7 of their last 8 games and actually ended up making the final 8, and Hawthorn didn't. And you could argue that really launched Brisbane in a way onto what was a golden era. So memorable stuff from 21 years ago. Okay, number 3, we're going back even further. It's 1989, it's the MCG. Fitzroy are playing North Melbourne, and a young key position player from Tasmania is about to leave an indelible mark on footy history.
Well, Matt Rendell has gone short. Osborne is the leader. Geez, a great player, that Martin. He really has a go the whole time. Richard Osborne, cleverly, back to Rendell. Rendell hooks it back in front of goal. Here's danger for North Melbourne. Lynch, a brilliant mark over the top of the pack.
What a great mark. I saw Michael Lynch, pardon me, Alistair Lynch, should I say, Alistair Lynch take a similar marks a couple of times against St Kilda a few weeks ago, and he played on Lockett. He ran and jumped all over Lockett a few times, but what a great jump from there, and got a good ride on the pack, and to mark that on your chest at that height, excellent leap.
Well, we remember a great mark.
What a grab. I love those marks, Finey, when they sit on top of the pack. That was Lynch's 30th game. He'd go on and play 306, play in 3 premierships with the Lions.
You know, he was a champion. He was as good as, at one point, as good as Carey. Of course, he was struck down with chronic fatigue, but he was an absolute champion up either end of the ground.
Correct.
No question. How about the state of the MCG? You forget that there was a time when the MCG was one of the poorest surfaces in the game.
That year particularly, it was a really wet winter, that one, a bit like the one we're having now. Okay, let's move on to number 2, and it's an Essendon clip. I make no apologies for that, because it was a great moment. It's 1993. The Baby Bombers are starting to emerge. They've lost the previous week to North Melbourne, need to keep winning to stay in what was then the top 6. West Coast are the reigning premiers, the champs. They lead for most of the game. Essendon come back hard in the second half. It's neck and neck. Let's pick up the action in the last little bit of play after a few highlights from the earlier quarters.
This is a high ball to Salmon. Now he's a chance. Punch to the front. The handball over the top. Playing open goal. Third gave the handball.
Looking for Somerville and Kickett. So Kickett should wait at the back here because Somerville will get it down the ground. On the Kickett. Hand pass was excellent from Hurd, and Kickett has slammed it through for a goal.
Hoisted high, short of the goal square. Courage needed here. Oh! Wanganeen showed 100%.
And here's the mark of Wanganeen. Great stuff.
That is sensational. What a talent. Bomber Thompson in towards Kickett. Oh, look at that. I wonder if he'll go the big torpedo punt kick, Ross. Oh, he's going, yes, he's going the top. Have a look at that kick. Oh, a ripper. A goal. Paul Salmon has been a pretty disappointing player today. He's been quiet. He's kicked 3 behinds. And this is, well, the crowd is hushed. We're under the minute. Look at we saw the look on the face of Kevin Sheedy. Paul Salmon has to kick this goal to put the Bombers in front. Salmon kicks. It's good. Bombers in front.
Time out. The siren sounds. Oh, what a game. Look at Kevin Sheedy.
Great performance of Bombers.
I have never seen Sheedy like that except for those premierships in the 80s.
I was going to get my jacket and wave it around my head, Finey. Now, you won't be surprised to know I was there that day. I was sitting in the members with this is a true story. Whilst Sheedy was waving his jacket around his head, I was there with my 10-year-old nephew who I'd taken to the game. I picked him up and I was so joyous, I almost threw him over my shoulder and sent him head first into the terracing. But that really was the making of the Baby Bombers, that game, and of course they went on and won the flag.
I mean, that act of waving the jacket above his head became symbolic, first of all, of an Essendon win, Essendon versus West Coast. It was spontaneous by Sheeds. What if he did something else? What if he'd bared his chest or done a bit of a sachet down the aisle? Did that mean for the next 2 decades, every Essendon West Coast game, every win by the Bombers would be greeted by fans sashaying down the aisle?
No, you're right. I'm glad he didn't rip his shirt off the side of 50,000 man boobs jiggling all over the place. I reckon we could all do without. Okay, let's go to number 1. Yes, it's Essendon again, but I don't think you'll be disappointed. This is the greatest comeback in football history. It's 2001. North Melbourne struggling a bit, no Wayne Carey, but they come out in the first quarter against Essendon supercharged. 12 goals in the first quarter to just 2. No one can believe it. They're stunned. They're even more stunned when the Roos kick a couple early in the second quarter. Matthew Burton, I've never forgotten this detail. Matthew Burton kicks a goal 10 minutes into the second quarter to make the margin 69 points. Well, it's all just about playing for pride now, say the Bombers, surely. But no, their players have other ideas. Let's see how it unfolded.
Makepeace on the end of a grand handball. On his wrong side, it goes with the right foot towards Rocker again. Fletcher, that's his first contest he's won. And the jeers from the Bomber supporters let him know that he's having a bleak day today.
Loops it over the top for Hurd, and crunch, that'll be 50. No,
Play on.
It wasn't 50. Hurd played on, and then in slow motion, he kicked the goal in very interesting fashion. Moorcroft does that very effectively. Lloyd's behind, he's got the ride, and he's got the mark. So here's Lloyd, he's kicked 3 goals, and he's leading them. Well, they like it behind the goals. Lloyd's not so sure, the umpire is. That's 4. The pressure is really on now. Hurd, Carousella, he can launch one. He had the time, he used the time, he used it wisely, and kicks a goal. Here they come.
6 kicks, 2 Hutch.
Thank you, Hawk. Lloyd's kicked the goal. 7 kicks, 7 goals.
Alessio back on the ground. The big man's got it. Not paid. Cleaned up by McGrath, and he kicks a goal. It's a 1-point ball game at the MCG.
But it bounces well for Johnson, who takes off, says get out of my way again. He's so determined and so cool, this bloke, and he could answer and kick a goal. He has.
Hurd. Around the line it goes. Moorcroft, let it go. Blake Carousella. It's all over now. The clock is counting, and the game is over. One of the best ever. One of the very best ever matches played on this magnificent ground. And Kevin Sheedy has brought his team back from where no team has come back before.
You know what?
Great days.
You know what? Never ever think that a low-scoring Dower game that's close is as good as a big, high-scoring shootout. We go to watch goals. We go to watch spectacular moments. That game had it. Reminds me of the game between Essendon and Geelong with Salmon and Ablett. They're the best games, and we're starting to get a few of them again. Love a shootout.
No, I couldn't agree more. And that was virtually the last hurrah for that Essendon team. They sort of stumbled through the rest of the home and away season, lost the grand final, and basically since then it's been 15 years in the wilderness.
Step it out!